All right, let's talk about selling your house in Florida. If you're picturing a simple for sale sign on the lawn and some nice photos, you are in for a serious reality check. I mean, you really need to forget everything you think you know, because we are talking about a market that comes with alligators, lawyers, and a healthy dash of insanity. So, welcome to your survival guide.
And yeah, that quote pretty much nails it, doesn't it? Selling your house here can be chaotic. And yes, it can be wildly profitable, but only if you play it smart. This whole thing, it is not for the faint of heart. It takes strategy, a good sense of humor, and probably a whole lot of caffeine.
So, first things first, you just have to accept that the Florida real estate market operates on its own set of wonderfully weird rules. Seriously. Getting your head around this is step one to not just surviving the process, but actually coming out on top.
I mean, just look at this comparison. It really says it all. Anywhere else, you've got a predictable process. Here in Florida, you've got an epic saga. You're not just dealing with interest rates, you're trying to navigate these constant waves of out-of-state buyers, flood insurance policies that you need a PhD to understand, and HOAs with rules written by people who clearly have way too much time on their hands. It's a legendary beast. Okay, so before you even start thinking about staging or curb appeal, we need to pause and talk about you. Are you actually ready for this? I'm talking financially, legally, and maybe most importantly, emotionally.
Ask yourself this. I'm serious, because here's the thing. Not everyone who wants to sell their house should sell their house right now. You have got to be prepped like a pro before you step into this ring. Otherwise, this entire process is going to be so much more painful than it needs to be.
You know, let's talk about the #1 silent saboteur of a smooth sale: your feelings. Buyers, they do not care about your memories. I promise you, they are already walking through your house picturing ripping out your beloved kitchen just to install a wine bar for their labradoodle. To win, you have to mentally detach and start thinking of your home as a product. That's it, a product you're trying to sell.
All right, now for the stuff that is absolutely non-negotiable. Don't think of this as just paperwork. Think of it as your golden ticket to freedom from court appearances and those midnight panic attacks. Is the title clean? Is every single owner actually willing to sell? Are there any unpaid HOA fines from Barbara and 2B for that trash bin violation? You've got to get this checklist handled before you even dream of listing.
All right, let's zoom out and talk about the landscape, because Florida isn't just one market. Oh no, it is hundreds of moody, kind of teenage micro-markets, and each one has its own culture, its own pace, and its own cast of characters. And what works in one will absolutely tank in another. Just take these 3 counties, for example. In Miami-Dade, you're selling a fast-paced international lifestyle. Everything has to be flashy. But if you use that same strategy up in Martin County, you'll just scare off the buyers who are looking for peace and quiet. You see, you're not just selling a house. You're selling a very specific Florida lifestyle to a very specific kind of person.
And who are these people you're selling to? Well, it's this colorful cast right here. You've got the retiree with a pension and a knee brace who just wants something move-in ready and absolutely hates stairs. You've got investors buying up properties like their Monopoly tokens. And then, my personal favorite, the wide-eyed out-of-state buyers from places like New York or California who are convinced everything down here is a massive deal. Knowing your audience is everything.
Okay, let's do a rapid-fire round. We're going to go through the most common, most soul-crushing mistakes that sellers make. So listen up, because our goal is to avoid every single one of these.
This is such a classic but totally avoidable journey. It all starts with pricing the house based on what you need to make, not what the data says. The listing goes live and crickets. Then one insulting lowball offer trickles in. The buyer finds something in the inspection, like your vintage 2007 water heater, and they walk. Suddenly, you're on Google looking up tiny homes in Costa Rica. Every step of this is a direct result of a mistake you can avoid if you have the right plan.
So how do you win, right? How do you sidestep that whole journey of grief and actually come out on top? Let's talk strategy, because vibes alone do not sell homes in Florida. This is where you take control of the process.
So here's the bottom line. You need a concrete plan. To sell like a pro, you need way more than just a Zillow estimate. Your plan has to include a professional pricing strategy based on hard data, a marketing approach that targets your specific buyer, and a clear-eyed understanding of your bottom line before you even list.
And that pricing strategy,
It begins by really truly internalizing this one critical truth. The market, it does not care about your mortgage, or your next home, or your retirement plans. Pricing is a cold, calculated strategy. It is not a wish list. And this mindset shift is what separates the successful sellers from the ones who just sit on the market for months.
So I'll leave you with this one question to really think about. As you move forward, is every decision you're making coming from a place of clear, informed strategy, or is it coming from a place of panic? Because your answer will determine everything.